Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Mike Beer, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Thursday, September the 7th, race number 9 at Kentucky Downs. Let's take a look at the field for the $150,000 Old Friends Stakes at 1 mile and 70 yards on the turf. This is a big field. Kentucky Downs puts on a heck of a show with its all-turf meeting.
Yeah, there's a bunch of races like this coming up over the next few days. Just, big fields, wide open races, a lot of different ways to go.
Head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download free Formulator past performances, handicap along with us as we take this field in post position order. There's a lot of golden oldies in this race, and the number one mean man feels like an old timer. It's amazing when you look at his PPs and realize he's only 4 years old. He was managed beautifully through his 3-year-old campaign last year by Bernie Flint. This year against older horses, it's been tougher sailing.
Yeah, it's tougher for him to win races against the older horses, but he continues to run his race every time. He's a really nice horse. Yeah, you're right. It feels like he's been around forever. I guess that's just because they race him a lot. I love that about him. He just goes out there every month or so and shows up with his best race. He's having trouble getting over the hump. Maybe he can do it here. He's one of those horses I felt like I was going to use him. I couldn't make him my top pick.
Lucky Ramsey is the number 2 for trainer Randy Morse. 7th last time. It's sort of a disappointing performance in the West Virginia Speakers Cup going 1 mile and 70 yards. I guess the good news is he's run pretty well over this course in the past. And I guess if ever there's a horse for course racetrack, it's Kentucky Downs.
That does seem like one of the things you want to pay attention to at Kentucky Downs, maybe more than anywhere else. It's a sort of a quirky kind of course, and if horses like it, maybe they can show up and run their best race here, and maybe he can do that. He did run well here last year. I'll give him a pass for the last one, I guess. They went a really fast pace in there. He just couldn't get himself involved. He gamed out a couple of wins before that. I still think he's in a little tough here.
The 3 is Gliding Alone. The 3 lifetime wins for Gliding Alone came on dirt against fellow Ohio breds. Just missed last time out, but only for a $16,000 starter allowance. He seems in tough.
Yeah, I don't like his chances too much in this field.
Tell us a little bit about the 4, Geo's Calling. I know you've been following him a little bit in New York. His most recent win came 4 starts back at Keeneland at the mile distance. Now, they've tried longer distances with him. Do you like this turn back?
I like him going shorter. I don't really love him in those longer distance races. He has been squaring off against some pretty good horses in New York, obviously. I don't know yet. I'm not much of a fan of this horse. He's okay. I do like him going shorter distances, and he's got a little speed. I think he can get himself the right kind of trip in this race. I'm just not a big fan.
Call Provision, who ran second in the most recent start from Geo's Calling, came right back to win a non-winners of 2 other than for trainer Chad Brown with a 96 Beyer speed figure. We've got Canadian Classic winner, the number 5, Sir Dudley Diggs, coming off of a dud in the Grade 3 Arlington Handicap. He just didn't fire that day. The 4th place finisher came back to run second in an optional claimer at Saratoga with a 94 Beyer, but his greatest acceleration came in that Queen's Plate. I think he's a better horse on synthetic.
Yeah, that might be true. On the other hand, if you can get past that last one, I'm with you. He just didn't run last time. He's got plenty of races that make him a contender in this race. He has a really good trainer in his corner. There's a chance he's a decent price in this race. I wouldn't totally toss him.
Bandar is the number 6, beaten last time out in that West Virginia Speakers Cup. And as you mentioned, there was a fast pace in front. Several horses, including Bandar, were just out-sprinted. Yeah. This one passed a couple of tired horses before flattening out.
Yeah, still many of those horses were a little disappointing. Sometimes it can be hard for them to cope with a really fast pace like that when they just run away from you. If you want to give him that excuse, that's fine. I just don't see his other turf race that really gives him a big look in here.
Undrafted, the number 7 is cross-centered in that big turf sprint at Kentucky Downs on Saturday. I'm expecting him to run in that spot. Do you like him at this elongated distance? A, and B, is he in the same form that he was in when he was really good in 2015, 2016? He's 7 years old now.
Yeah, that's what bothers me more. It just feels like this is a horse who's probably lost a step or two, and he's not quite as good as he once was. I mean, if he was in the kind of form, that he had been in 2015, say somewhere around then, I'd have no problem with them stretching it out. But they did it with him that year, and he ran fine. I just don't like his recent form.
Turf Titan's done some good things. He's only raced 3 times, 2 for 3 lifetime. The only loss coming by a half length behind a decent enough sort Giant Payday, who's now a stakes winner. This horse has won from off it. He's won from on the lead. He's getting a Giant Class quiz, but he's well bred. He's got plenty of upside. An interesting horse at a big price.
He's got all those things going for him with the big pedigree, and he's very lightly raced. You can project a lot of improvement for this horse down the line. If you like him, you should bet him. He's 30 to 1 morning line.
Oscar nominated, won the Dueling Grounds Derby at Kentucky Downs last year, coming off sort of an 8th place finish in the Arlington Million, where he wasn't going to run with horses like Beach Patrol. This is a horse that hasn't won since the Dueling Grounds Derby. I wonder if Michael Makers finally just found a good spot, but beware, he's cross-entered in the big race on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see if he runs here. It just feels like this is a great spot for him. They try him in all those tougher graded stakes races. He never embarrassed himself. embarrasses himself. He also never wins those races. He's always right there. This is a way better spot for him. I just suspect if he runs here, I just think he's a handful. But if they run him in the other race, he'll probably have a chance on that one too.
One Go All Go was a pace-pressing winner at Kentucky Downs last year. He's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He was on the lead at Ellis Park last time out. One Mean Man tried to come to him in the stretch, finally got by him late. He's a solid horse. The question is, with the 11 in the race, Chocolate Ride, can he get an easy trip on the lead? Does he need the lead to win?
Yeah, I think he is better when he can make the front. And listen, even with Chocolate Ride, maybe he can still make the front. This is a pretty good horse. I think he's a little underrated. If Oscar Nominated decides to wait for the bigger race on Saturday, I could give this horse a look in here.
Let's see what the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector has in store for this year's Old Friends Stakes. And they do have the number 11, Chocolate Ride, out there on the lead. He's 7 years old now, and Chocolate Ride, his favorite racetrack is the Fairgrounds. I think there was some worry when he wasn't as dominant as usual earlier this winter in the Fairgrounds that maybe he'd lost a step, but a win 3 back, a good enough effort in the Wise Dan. And last time out in that Warrior Veteran Stakes, he was up close to the pace. At this point in his career, I do think he needs the lead. The question is, will that 10 be so far back?
Yeah, I don't know about it. I mean, they have One Mean Man ahead of One Go All Go in this race on the pace projector. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We'll see how it plays out. Chocolate Ride, he's just lost a couple of steps, and obviously he still has a performance in him that would make him competitive here. He's won twice this year, both times when they dropped him into allowance races. I just wonder if this kind of a race is too tough for him at this point.
The 12 Thatcher Street completes the horses in the body of this race. He ran second, I believe, in this race back in 2015. He's getting the necessary class drop. He was in Simply Too Tough last time out in the Monmouth. Money Multiplier came back to run second in the Grade 1 Sword Dancer. Carafa came back to run third with his usual 99 Beyer speed figure. Thatcher Street fits well, has run well over this surface. Maybe not the most prolific winner in the world, but he could easily win this race.
You could say that about a lot of horses in this race. None of them, have these huge resumes where it feels like they win a ton of races, but they're all sort of right there. This is kind of the right spot for this horse as well. I don't think post 12 is a big deal for him. He can win this race.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this year's Old Friends Stakes. We think Oscar Nominated is going to get it done. The problem is Oscar Nominated is going to get bet, and he's not the most reliable horse in the world. He's 2-1 on the morning line. I need 3. I don't think I'm getting it.
I don't think I'm getting it either. If he runs here, I just didn't like anybody else enough to pick against him in here. If he runs here, I think he's really tough. If he elects for the tougher spot on Saturday, I'm going to go with the 10, One Go All Go.
9, 10, 12, and 1 for Mike. 9, 12, 4 for me. If the 13 Italian Charm, though, gets into the body of the race, I know you're not a big fan. This is a horse that certainly has not lived up to his remarkable pedigree as damned by Voodoo Dancer. He was clean last time out by trainer Joe Sharp. He's lightly raced enough that I think maybe a forward move will move in his favor. So if Italian Charm, the 13, gets into the race, consider him. If not, we'll go with Oscar Nominated in the $150,000 Old Friends. If you're playing the Kentucky Downs Thursday card from home, please sign up to DRF Bets. 10% win place takeout on 10 tracks, plus a $300 cash bonus just waiting for you. DRF.com/take10. Approximate post time for the Old Friends, 5:14 Central, race number 9 at Kentucky Downs. Good luck.